Have you ever just felt completely overwhelmed by the pressure to make these huge, massive life changes? Well, today we're going to look at a powerful but really gentle Japanese approach to self-improvement. And the cool thing is, it works with your brain, not against it, to create change that actually lasts. You know, this idea is a world away from that go big or go home hustle culture we see everywhere. The whole idea is that there's a quieter, more sustainable path to growth. It's all about focusing on these small, almost invisible actions that just compound over time. So yeah, that's the big question, right? What is this art, and how on earth can it help reset our nervous system? Well, we're about to find out. We're going to dig into the philosophy behind it, look at the fascinating brain science that makes it tick, and see how you can use it to find a little more calm and control in your life. Okay, so this whole approach is built on one single foundational principle. And it's so elegantly simple, but it's also profoundly effective. It's called Kaizen. The two words you really want to focus on here are continuous and incremental. See, Kaizen isn't about some dramatic one-time overhaul of your life. It's all about the daily practice of making things just 1% better. It really is a marathon, not a sprint, and honestly, that's its superpower. And the method itself? It's beautifully simple. First, you just pick one thing. Not 10 things, okay? Just one. Then, and this part is absolutely crucial, you make the action so small, so tiny, that it's almost impossible not to do it. Like, you want to meditate? Just start with one single deep breath. Want to read more? Start with one page. You just repeat that tiny action every day, and momentum starts to build all by itself, without all the stress and pressure. So why does this gentle approach work so much better for our brains than trying to force some massive change? Well, the answer is all in our neurochemistry. It's how we're wired. Think about it. Chasing these huge goals creates immense pressure. And sure, when you finally hit one, you get this massive, volatile spike of that reward chemical, dopamine, but it's really hard to sustain. And the crash that follows, that often leads to burnout. Micro-habits, on the other hand, give you this small, steady dopamine drip with every tiny success. It builds this positive feedback loop that creates lasting motivation without that huge risk of exhaustion. And this leads to another really key benefit. The whole Kaizen method helps you develop something called interoceptive awareness. It's a fancy term, but it just means the art of listening to your body. Instead of just pushing through pain or fatigue, you start with what feels manageable. You actually learn to listen to your body's signals, tuning into whether you feel stressed or calm or energized, which is absolutely essential for regulating your nervous system. All right, so let's see how this all comes together. How do we take these concepts, Kaizen and this interoceptive awareness, and turn them into a practical tool for actually resetting our minds and bodies when we feel totally overwhelmed? This is where it all clicks. A perfect example is the practice of Shinrin-yoku, which translates to forest bathing, and it just beautifully applies all these ideas. And get this, it's not about exercise. It's about using micro actions of awareness to intentionally calm your nervous system. Notice something here? There's no goal. There's no destination, no distance to cover, no calories to burn. The entire practice is just to be present and to focus on tiny little sensory details. You know, what does the air feel like on your skin? What can you smell? It's just a series of micro-awareness habits that pull you out of your racing thoughts and anchor you right here, in the present moment, resetting your whole nervous system. Okay, so let's wrap this up and talk about your first step. How can you take this powerful art of tiny behaviors and apply it to your own life? Like, starting right now. And if there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Forget the grand gestures. Forget the overwhelming New Year's resolutions. The real power to transform your mind and calm your nervous system, it lies in the smallest, most consistent actions. A single minute of focused breathing, one page of a book, one moment of just noticing the world around you, that's more powerful than you can imagine, but only if you do it consistently. And that brings us right to the final question for you. Don't think about next month or next year. Just think about today, right now. What is one incredibly small, ridiculously easy 1-minute action you could take today that would be a step, however tiny, in the right direction? Because that is where the quiet transformation really begins.